Hi guys, hope you're doing good, and today I'm going to be showing my parents' vinyl collection. Now on to my dad's collection. Now, my dad, sort of in the 70s, he got into a lot of punk and that kind of scene and a bit of like 70s rock. And then in the 80s, when the punk scene sort of fell away, my dad got into a lot of heavy metal and mainly thrash metal as well. So the majority of his collection is 80s thrash metal, a lot of classic 80s thrash, and some of it I've even shown in previous videos before. And then after that, in the 90s, when thrash sort of died, my dad got into a lot of like grunge, alternative rock. So a lot of his CD collection is 90s grunge. And then after that, he sort of didn't really get into that much music until I was of the age where I started to get into a lot of music, and then, you know, since then we sort of started discovering newer stuff like from the 90s and 2000s ourselves, and sort of, you know, now my dad's starting to get more into like some 2000s metal and 90s stuff as well. So yeah, sort of a bit all over the place. I couldn't find any punk. I don't know if my dad's even got some anymore. He might have, I don't know. I know that my mum and dad have got a lot of like singles and stuff, but I didn't go through them. I just mainly focused on albums. So let's make a start. Rush 2112. My dad absolutely loves Rush. That's a bit cheesy, but the album's pretty damn good. I like a bit of Rush. I'm not a massive fan of Geddy Lee's vocals, but their instrumentals are fantastic. That's a farewell to Kings and Caress of Steel. Pretty cool. Next, Thin Lizzy. My dad really does like a bit of Thin Lizzy. This is Jailbreak. Oh, that's cool. Opens up like that. And also my dad likes some Gary Moore, which transferred over to me because I love Gary Moore as well. And I know that he spent a lot of time in this band. So the boys are back in town. Next one, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, AC/DC. This was my first AC/DC album, and sort of starting to grow it from there. Want to get some more AC/DC if I can. Alice Cooper, Poison. I think this is a 3-track single. It's pretty cool. Next up is 2 Skid Rows. I think one of them must have been my mum's, and the other one's my dad's. So I put them together and thought, let's just show them both together. This is sort of the crossover, like my mum and dad, they do like bands like them. Next I found this. It's a comp, I believe, and it's got a lot of like of the bands of the time on there. So I'm gonna sort of zoom that in a bit so you can have a look. There's the top, there's the middle. And if I move my hands out of the way, there's the bottom. So yeah, pretty cool. Pretty cool comp of, yeah, a lot of classic 80s metal there. And yeah, now we're going to get into the thrash stuff. I'm pretty certain I remember my dad saying that he had more than this, but I think him and his brother shared a lot of the collection, and I think my dad's brother took a lot of it, but my dad took all the good stuff, let's say. So let's start with this. I've recently just showed this one, Exodus Bonded by Blood. Fantastic album. Yeah, this is where I can start talking more about it, because I kind of know this stuff a lot more than the stuff that I showed previously. Flesh of the Flesh. This is my dad's favourite. My favourite is Bonded by Blood, but this is still a really good one. The first one with Zectro. Next one, Fabulous Disaster, another really good one. And that's it. I know that my dad said that he thought he had Impact is Imminent, but we couldn't find it, so gone. Next up, bit of Kreator, Pleasure to Kill. I probably wouldn't say this is my favourite. A little bit more on the raw side, this one, but still a cool one. No Terrible Certainty, which is my favourite, but my dad's got this one. Probably my second favourite, Extreme Aggression. Really great album. Now this next one, this is Coma of Souls from 1990. I remember my dad saying that he got this in a random record shop in London, like a little shop, and this is another pretty rare one because the vinyl, if I can get it out, where did it come out? There, purple. That might not be great to see on the camera. Let me do the get the brightness up a bit and see if that purple comes through. It's not really, that's a shame. Oh, it is now when I do that. But yeah. Very rare for 1990 for purple vinyl like that. So that's a really great one. Seventh Son, $4.99. That's crazy. Spin the String. This is not my favourite Maiden, but it's alright. And again, my dad thought he had more Maiden, but we couldn't find any, so it's a shame, but it is what it is. Anthrax, one of my dad's favourite bands, especially thrash bands, and I think this one's his favourite, Spreading the Disease. So yeah, my dad's got quite a lot of he's got the majority of the 80s Anthrax, Among the Living. That one's my favourite. Love that one. State of Euphoria, which is not the greatest, but it's still got some cool songs on it. Crazy album art, and Persistence of Time. This is a really good one, a bit of an underrated one, I think. I really like this one. Next up, going back to the 70s, we've got some Black Sabbath, and I must check these out because I'm not the biggest Black Sabbath fan, so I've really got to check these out. This is the debut, and then we've got Paranoid, which is cool. I think this is Gatefold as well, yeah. Gatefold, Ozzy, looking all menacing. Next one, Master of Reality. Don't think this one's it. No, it's just Damage. It's just Damage. Next one, Volume 4. Long way round. Pretty good one. I know that's a lot of people's favourite, along with Paranoid in the first one. And Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. The gatefold, yep. They're all gatefolds. It's pretty cool. There's the back. Now we're back into the 80s stuff. And this is a bit of a weird one. I didn't think Dad would have this in his collection, but he does. Into the Pandemonium by Celtic Frost, which is another one I haven't listened to a lot of, but what I have listened to by this band is pretty damn cool, and they literally, you can just see or hear the obituary influence with this band. the tone, especially the tone, is very Trevor Perez from Obituary, and yeah, very surprised that Dad had this in his collection. Next up, Metallica, another one of my dad's favourite bands. Classic, awesome debut album. He hasn't got Ride the Lightning, but he's got Creeping Death on a picture disc, which is pretty cool. And it's, yeah, you can see the track list in there. That's pretty badass. Master of Puppets, everyone knows that. Amazing album. Not quite my favourite. Got the Garage Days EP, which I actually haven't listened to, or the Garage Inc. one, but pretty cool. Jason. And Justice for All, without the bass. And a lot of people say it's the last great Metallica album. I'll probably agree with that, to be honest. Next up, a bit of hard rock. Appetite for Destruction with the original art. Even though I think the updated artwork looks really cool as well. But yeah, a lot of people say this is Guns N' Roses' best album, and I'll probably agree with you there as well, because it's been a bit hit and miss after that. Next, this is a band that I've not actually listened to that much, if not at all. Flotsam and Jetsam, Doomsday for the Deceiver. Jason again. I'm not going to say it because everyone knows it. This is before he went to the other band that I just showed. So yeah, I haven't listened to that album. I've been meaning to, and this one, No Place for Disgrace. But yeah, I didn't actually know that Dad had this one. I thought he only had the first one, but that's pretty cool. Next up, another one from the big four, Megadeth, Big Cells. A lot of people's favourites. It's not exactly mine, but I still really love that album. It's absolutely brilliant. This is one of my dad's favourites. So Far So Good So What. He really likes this one, and it's a bit of an underrated one because it's sandwiched in between that and this. This is my favourite though, to be honest. I know a lot of people would say otherwise, but I absolutely love this. My favourite. It's got Marty on it. This is awesome. Next up, Swansea, Spark at the Moon. And again, I thought my dad had a couple more, but couldn't find them. Yeah, not my favourite Aussie. If you saw my ranking, you saw that was pretty low on my ranking. Not a massive fan of that album. Next up, some Sepultura, Schizophrenia. This is a great album. I think this is my dad's favourite actually. He really enjoys that one. That one's my favourite though, Beneath the Remains. Again, I recently showed this, so I'm not going to go over it too much, but it's a fantastic one. Arise, another awesome album. Some people might say the last really good one, but I still like Chaos AD. I think it's really great. This is going to be a pretty big video, so I appreciate everyone who's still here watching. I've got a few more left to go, so let's just get straight back into it. Slayer, Live Undead. Pretty cool. A lot of stuff from the first album and Born in the Chapel as well. Yeah. I recently showed these in the Slayer live stream, so I'm not going to go over them too much. L.O.8's good album. I really like it, but the production, you know, isn't my favourite. That one is Rain in Blood. Again, just showed it, so I'm not going to go over it too much. South of Heaven next. This is very underrated, although I think a lot of like Slayer fans do rate this one really high. And lastly, one of my favourites, Seasons in the Abyss. This is just a fantastic album from start to finish. Absolutely love it. Brilliant album. And the last two are from Testament. This is Practice What You Preach. Not one of my favourites actually, to be honest. I don't know, something about this album I'm not a massive fan of. I prefer the ones before, and to be honest I actually prefer the one after it as well. This one, Souls of Black. This is a fantastic album. Bit underrated I think. Some really great songs on it. And yep, that's it. That does it for my dad's collection. So that was the video going through my parents' vinyl collection. I'd love to know in the comments below your thoughts on any of the albums that I've shown. I know it's a massive video, so anyone still watching, I really appreciate it. And thanks ever so much for watching. Until the next time, keep it metal.